Greetings and salutations, all you truly beautiful individuals. Welcome to another epi of League Unlock. My name is Eric Flying Han Solo. On today's epi, as we roll into week 2 action out in the LCK for the inaugural LCK Cup, or as we're calling it, it's just the Elder Dragon show. Elder Dragon group, obviously putting up a whole lot better of a performance than the Baron group, and that didn't change too much. To kick things off in week 2, we had Dplus Kia matching up against the boys from BNK FearX, fresh off of nearly getting at least a single win against Gen G, seeing if they could carry that momentum against the boys from Dplus. But unfortunately, to kick things off in this series, Showmaker was having none of it on the day, as we get a patented, first off, Zig sighting for aiming. Love to see that. But the Ahri for Showmaker in tandem was set up the entire game by Lucid Skarner, but the resurgence, the renaissance of Showmaker in the mid lane continues, because this guy mechanically is cleaner than he's been to start off this year, than going back to those peak World Championship eras, 2020, 2021. I don't know if it's the youth movement in the top side, the return of Barrel in the lineup, taking off some of the pressure of shot calling in this younger team, but Showmaker is... It's beautiful to see how confident my man is playing, and confidence is how Dplus closed out the opener in this series to take a 1-0 lead. And of course, we got to check in on any of these series. The hard, fearless mode going on didn't really get much spice in this series until the third game, but I'm immediately going to retract that, because we did get in the second game. You saw FearX say, we don't want anything, we don't want Braum, we don't want Sejuani comboing up for the Freljord duo, so Barrel pivots for a little bit of Pantheon support, which we have seen. We've seen him in the jungle as well early on in this year, and usually a champion like that picked by Barrel, you're expecting your boy to die at least, 8 to 10 times. He actually didn't in this game, but we did get a bounce back from BNK. This is what they could not do against Gen G, and that was close out with the lead, highlighted by this 2v, basically 5, with Diabla on the Zeri, and then clear on that Cassante. Obviously, they had the Otacon buff and Rez that eventually ran it back, but they were able to close that game out to bounce back and force a decisive third game set, and this is where the spice does come in, because you know it's going to be Showmaker. We've already seen Xerath coming out of him. We're even in non-fearless modes. We've seen some fun little picks out of the Madman in the mid lane. Zoe. A few years ago, you see a Zoe pick, and that's just routine as usual, but it's the first time she's been played in the LCK since, would you believe, 2022 summer. Yeah, that's 2.5 years since we've seen the 10,000-year-old Riot design little girl in the mid lane dominate, and it was a fun time for Showmaker on that rift with the Zoe, even though that maybe wasn't the game-changing, game-deciding factor. I'm more putting that in the pocket of Lucid on the Viego in this game. But Sivu had a fantastic game on the Scion, had multiple multi-man knockups as Dplus goes right where they left off in the first game. Pretty convincing third game win, and look at the baiting out of Barrel. This guy has calculated it. Something when he puts on a Dplus, because I'm still counting it as a Dom 1 era jersey, his baiting, his masterclass face checking just seems to work. And I think that's because this entire lineup seems to trust him. They believe in whatever his idea is the right way to do it, and they follow up. Even if it looks like borderline inting, it somehow turns into a 3-for-0 that ends up eventually clinching you the game. So whatever is in the home cooking over at the Dplus Kia headquarters. It's working for Barrel. It's working for Showmaker, as he picked up man of the match, player of the match, player of the series, whatever they're calling it. He picks it up for this one, and absolutely deserving. By the way, now Dplus has the same series wins as the entirety of the Baron group. That includes T1 and Hanwha Life. They 3-0 start for Dplus. Only 3 wins total in that other side. So running away with it is this group to kick things off in this year's LCK Cup. And it didn't get any better in the other matchup on the day as DRX matched up against the Afrika Freaks. Nope, not the Afrika Freaks. Scratch that. The DN Freaks. Even easier to say. DN Doodoo is one of the all-time best in-game names that you're going to look at. Obviously, Teddy still dealing with the flu, hospitalized for that. Again, sending our good wishes and healing vibes over to Teddy. So it's Lazy Feel who yet again gets the start on this one. But it was Berserker who was the AD carry popping off in that first match. Look how deep they're diving in with Bulldog on the Talia, and then Berserker's eventually going to jump back there. He's got the Octacon buff, so it doesn't even matter that he gets a double kill and dies, but it was calm, cool, and collected in this first one. Piosik is standing inside vision, and obviously, like the genius he is, baits the entire DRX lineup. You can see they've only got a single kill to their name as DRX. They double it up on this last team fight, but they're getting completely closed out. Berserker flashes and is able to survive and cleans up with one more Void Seeker as 15-16-2. Pretty convincing game 1 win for the Freaks, and we've seen this before in the series to kick things off in 2025. They have a dominant game 1. You're starting to feel good about things, and then things kind of fall off the rails a bit in game 2. This was the slowest paced game on the day by far. We're talking 7 kills at 27 minutes, and I think we only finished with 2 more kills after that. It's a force around Otacon, which is the new Baron. I feel like we're barely even seeing games flipped over Baron early on this year. It's all over this new neutral objective, but it's just a single kill. They push them off it 6-3, 29 minutes, and you're closing the game out. They're not even going for kills. DRX, everybody focus on the Nexus, and let me tell you, it got a little bit dicey there for a minute as only 2 members left. Luckily, the minions are there. Sponge is there for one more auto attack. I don't even know if he gets 50 gold at that point, but a kind of nail-biting finish for what was a relatively slow-paced game across the board. DRX evens up the series, and let me tell you, they ride that momentum into game 3. It looked like it should have been good for the Freaks to kick things off, because anytime you're getting a Kalista, let alone Berserker piloting that Kalista, a triple kill sub 10 minutes, you should be able to ride that snowball to a game win and at least control of the map. But there was hardly even a gold lead after that point. We had some back and forth extended team fights. Here's a nice little Baron flip, and there is an absolutely insane Nico engage out of life, but unfortunately it's not enough. Piosik goes down before he's able to smite the Baron. That goes over to Sponge. DRX grabs it, and look at the dancing around for UCal on the Silas, who's able to survive. Such low health bars, Berserker is almost able to turn that around, but this is not DNF's Nico. Look at UCal on this engage. That is some clean Nico ult into Proto Belt, into knockup on the stolen Nico ulti to basically secure the team fight and secure the win for DRX. Bulldog is left alone, and Ando, look at that lollipop, max rank, max range hook to clear him up. And yes, it is a second series win where UCal is the MVP. He's the first guy to pick up 2 players of the match. Absolutely deserved it for that Silas performance, especially in game 3. And the Freaks, the hype, the expectations, it's more the disappointment in that one. They had this Gragas, Oriana, Nico Wombo combo, and you got to see them do it once or twice, but there just wasn't enough follow-up a lot of the time, not enough of being on the same page to actually get that Wombo combo. And as we mentioned, the Silas gameplay, too clean out of UCal. Another great couple of games from Lazy Feel. Again, we're wishing the best for Teddy. Want to see him back in the lineup, but let me tell you, this 17-year-old kid has filled his shoes more than admirably and held his own against some of the best players, the best bot laners in the LCK. So big shout out to them. We're now sitting at 9 points to 3 in favor of the Elder Baron group, or Elder Dragon group, excuse me. That is the side with Gen G and Dplus Kia. And now you need like the bros to get an upset against Gen G, or you need Hanwha to take down Dplus. And otherwise, this is done and dusted before you even have the final week of regular season in the LCK Cup. It's basically going to be determined who is advancing. It's just going to be who's going to be that first team getting eliminated. So Dplus overachieving, and a couple of the teams maybe underachieving a little bit on the side of that Baron group makes for a mismatch in South Korea early on. But either way, just an absolute treat to see Dplus Kia playing at this level. If they can keep it up, the four-headed horsemen of what could potentially, again, be Dplus, Gen G, Hanwha, and T1 will make LCK the most terrifying prospect to match up against internationally, like it has been the last couple of years. But this is just the beginning of week 2 of the LCK, but it is the end of League Unlocked. My name is Eric. Thank you guys so much for hanging out as always, and you bet your bottom dollar that we will catch you on that flippity flip.